It's time for Dodger Baseball. Live from Dodger Stadium, Prime Ticket presents the Dodgers as they take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Monday evening to you, wherever you may be. Arizona is in town. First place, a game and a half in front of San Francisco, 7.5 in front of the Dodgers. Certainly one reason when you talk about Arizona, they're the only team in the major leagues not to have been shut out this year. On the mound for the Dodgers, trying to solve that riddle, it'll be Clayton Kershaw. He is 7-6 lifetime against Arizona, 0-1 this year, 5-4 against the league, and he has lost 4 straight in his last 5 starts against Arizona. But the Diamondbacks have just been beaten up on the Dodgers. They've beaten them 15 of the last 18, 15 out of 20 here at Dodger Stadium. On the mound for Arizona will be the left-hander Wade Miley. Interestingly enough, Miley is 3-1 lifetime against the Dodgers. All 3 victories right here at Dodger Stadium. We'll get to the ball game, and we'll have a whole lot more coming up right after this. By your Southern California Hyundai dealers. Come in and test drive the sleek, stylish Sonata today. By AT&T UVerse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PIC-ATT. And by Jack in the Box. The Chipotle Chicken Club combo is back for a limited time.
First place Atlanta is replaced by first place Arizona in the visitors' clubhouse. So far, the Dodgers are 4-3 on the homestand. It's good, but it's not good enough, especially considering that Arizona has won 4 straight over the Dodgers. Jim Watson, Steve Lyons in center field. Back in early May, the Diamondbacks swept the Dodgers, and the linchpin was Paul Goldschmidt. Not just that series, but all year, he is a Dodger killer. Dude's hitting .458 against L.A.
Yeah, we realize this is Dodgers Live, but every once in a while you have to acknowledge a guy on the other team that's absolutely doing it up, and he did it to the Dodgers. Hit 4 home runs in that series. 2 of them were game winners. We're going to break down his swing a little bit, take a look at why he's so good. He is a great low ball hitter for being a right-handed hitter. Watch him go down this. That ball's knee-high that he powers into left field for a towering home run right there. That's outstanding hitting. And now what he does also, as we take a look at this second swing, watch his front left foot. He's going to pick it up very quickly and then put it down. Watch him toe tap. Look how quickly it's down. The pitcher hasn't even let go of the ball. This is a new trend in baseball where Jimmy Edmonds did it. Albert Pujols does it. Even little Nicky Punto does it. No stride. All he's doing is picking that toe up, putting the weight back down on it. He's got great balance. That ball was a little bit up. Still crushed it the other way for a home run. Phenomenal hitter.
Going to the mound for the Dodgers tonight. Here's your good news. Clayton Kershaw, but we grade him on a tougher schedule. He's either great or struggling, winless in 3.
Yeah, and even those were pretty darn great if they scored some runs for him.
First to 3 against the Snakes. Kershaw against Wade Miley. 100 games left in the 2013 season.
Welcome to Dodger Stadium. A lovely evening as we await the start of Game 1 of the 3-game series against Kirk Gibson's Arizona Diamondbacks. Gibby and his ball club have already beaten the Dodgers 5 out of 6 times. They're in first place, a game and a half ahead of San Francisco, and they've really been on a roll. They are facing Clayton Kershaw. They are 11-10 against left-hand starters this year. So Arizona's lineup card filled out by Kirk, and here are the names. In center field, A.J. Pollock. Second base, Willie Bloomquist. And first base, Paul Goldschmidt. Hitting cleanup in left field, Cody Ross. The catcher, Miguel Montero. The third baseman, Martin Prado. The right fielder, Gerard O'Para. The shortstop, switch hitter, Cliff Pennington. And Wade Miley on the mound. On the mound for the Dodgers, Clayton Kershaw. If you go back to last July right up to now, he's made 18 starts at Dodger Stadium, and he is 10-5 here with a brilliant earned run average of 1.5. His earned run average right now is 1.9. One thing about Clayton, however, he does struggle, or at least historically, he has struggled in May and June. So his average earned run average in those months 3.5. And his first pitch to A.J. Pollock in for a strike. A.J., and we've explained it before for one reason or 10, his name is Alan Lorenz the fourth. Here's the strike one pitch. Swung on, hit in the air, back of first down the right field line. Hui coming over and makes the catch for the out. So Pollock, a fly ball down the right field line, and we have one away. We'll take a look at the Dodgers with the leather, and it's Gonzalez and Ellis, Punto and Uribe, Hairston, Ethier, and Puig. Fedorovich behind the plate. Kershaw on the mound. Andre Ethier, who was out with the sore ankle, hitting a batted ball down on his foot, is back into the game in center. So the number 2 hitter now is Willie Bloomquist, who was on the DL the last time we saw Arizona over there. Temperature 69 degrees. In his 25 at-bats, Willie hitting .480, very light breeze blowing left to right, and Bloomquist lifts one to left. Hairston on the dead run goes in the corner and makes the catch. Jerry is playing for Scott Van Slyke. Scotty, you may remember, made 2 great sliding catches, one to left center and one to left, but he has always had some problems with his neck and shoulder, and he compares it to whiplash. And if you've ever, I hope not, but if you've had whiplash, you know the pain that he's in. So he's unable to start, and Hairston is in left field. Now here comes a big story. Paul Goldschmidt hitting .320, but he has been Mr. Clutch all year for Arizona, even though as he takes ball one, he's cooled off a little. 1 for 14, but he's still hitting .333 over the last 2 weeks. He takes off the plate, 2-0 the count. He had an RBI in 8 straight games. Actually more than 8. He had 17 in the 8 straight games since the 1st of June. So Goldie has a look at a breaking ball that's in for a strike, and the count 2-1. He is the first Diamondback to hit 2 grand slams on one road trip. St. Louis and Chicago. He takes low, ball 3-1, and Arizona so captured with him, they signed him to a 5-year deal with an option for 2019. Cody Ross on deck, and the 3-1 pitch on the way is taken for a strike. The 3-2 the count to Paul Goldschmidt. Clayton Kershaw being very careful with the big right-hand batter. Dodgers originally went after Goldschmidt, but he decided to go to school. He hits it foul. He's 6'3", checks in about 245. Dodgers drafted him, but he went to Texas State instead, and then the D-backs drafted him out of Texas State University. He's 25. He'll be 26 in September. Here's the 3-2 pitch coming up, and Kershaw deals, swung on and missed, and down goes Goldschmidt. So the Diamondbacks go peacefully, 1-2-3, and at the end of half an inning, they fail to score. Wade Miley now going to work. Arizona fails to score. They go 1-2-3 against Clayton Kershaw. Now let's take a look at the names on Don Mattingly's batting card. And leading off, Nick Punto at short. Mark Ellis, who's done a number on Wade Miley at second base. Adrian Gonzalez at first. Yasiel Puig is hitting cleanup tonight in right field. Jerry Hairston in left. Andre Ethier in center. Juan Uribe followed by Tim Fedorovich and Clayton Kershaw. So Wade Miley ready to go to work. And the left-hander out of Hammond, Louisiana, looks in to get a sign, and here we go. And the first pitch is in for a strike. 0-1 the count to Nick Punto. Wade Miley, the first Arizona rookie to make the All-Star team. He did that last year. He's a 16-game winner from last year, and his strike one pitch is worked down and away. 1 ball and 1 strike. Wade is an even 6 and 220. 26 years old. He'll be 27 in November, and went to the University of Louisiana Monroe. The next pitch is foul back, and 1-2 the count to Nick Punto. Punto hitting .285 with a home run, 10 runs batted in. That 1 home run came against Arizona a little more than a month ago. Miley has been terrific, especially the first 3 innings, as Punto fouls a pitch away. In fact, the first 3 innings, the opposition is hitting 147. However, it doesn't stay that way. Second time around, 343. Third time around, 352. And the pitch to Punto in there. Strike 3 called. The strikeout called by Larry Vanover, and we have 1 away. Let's take a look at the Diamondbacks as they're displayed. It would be Goldschmidt and Bloomquist, Pennington and Prado, Ross, Pollock, and Parra in the outfield, Montero behind the plate, and Miley on the mound. Now here is Mark Ellis, and Ellis has done a terrific job against Wade Miley. He has 8 hits and 3 home runs, and Mark takes ball 1. He brings up a .444 batting average against the left-hander. The 1-0 pitch, and that's low and inside. 2-0 the count. Miley turns, ready, and comes back and works it away. The pitching very, very carefully. He's behind 3-0 to Mark Ellis. Now the 3-0 pitch on the way, just outside and low. So he didn't want any part of Mark Ellis, and you can understand why. So with Ellis at first, 1 out. Adrian Gonzalez coming up. The theory is if you hit in front of a big hitter, you are going to get a lot of fastballs. However, as big as Yasiel Puig has been, and certainly he's been big, Puig still has only played 7 games. So we'll wait and see whether his presence and reputation alone makes Gonzalez see a lot of fastballs. He takes 1 for a strike. Another thing, people are trying to figure out what Puig writes in the ground. And he does 2 things. When he's in the on-deck circle, and he just finished writing in the dirt, and then he does something else up at the plate. Here's the strike 1 pitch on the way. Miley delivers, fastball fouled away, 0-2. That was 92. Now, it's either an X or a cross. We will assume it's a cross because they told me earlier in one of the other games he would write D-I-O-S, Dios, for God. 0-2 the count to Adrian Gonzalez. Miley delivers, and it is swung on and pulled into right field. Down in the corner, backhanding it on the run is Parra, and holding on at first base is Mark Ellis. So Gonzalez hits one deep to right. Parra makes a nice running catch, and now here comes Yasiel Puig. I'm sure, as every professional baseball player, Arizona is very interested. Who is this kid? What's he been doing? They've been reading about him. Again, he's writing in the sand. He's already written into the Dodger record book. So here is Yasiel Puig, hitting .464 in 7 games, 4 home runs, 10 runs batted in. Puig waiting. Out of his stretch goes Miley. Looks over at Mark Ellis. And the pitch to Puig, blowing inside, ball one. Mike Brito said to him before the game, Mike's the scout and found him, well, what do you think? You're batting fourth. Puig shrugged and said, I'll take what they give me. Well, they give him a big spot. The 1-0 pitch on the way. Miley set, comes back, and Puig probably bangs it into right field for a base hit. Down to second base goes Mark Ellis. I tell you, he is really remarkable for Puig. He now has 14 hits in 7 games plus 1 inning. So he just continues his solid hitting. The other thing about him, he has been a first ball hitter, and he has made it pay off. 9 of his 13 previous hits came on either the first or second pitch, including all 4 home runs. So his base hit now was on the second pitch. And that will bring up Jerry Hairston. 2 on, 2 out, first inning, no score. Hairston has a look that'll cost a strike. So Puig, among other things, has now hit safely in 5 straight. So a walk and a base hit, the Dodgers are in business. No balls and 1 strike. Now the strike 1 pitch, check swing. 1-1 the count. Miley staring down the barrel, getting a sign, having a little bit of a rough first inning. Normally that's not his pattern. Wade taking a little more time. Miley has a great record in the daytime. He was 7-0 in the sunshine. And there's a line drive base hit. That will cash in Mark Ellis. Puig will stop at second. So the Dodgers with a walk and then a 2-out single. Then Hairston singles, and the Dodgers are on the board, leading 1-0. So Mark Ellis brings the run in as the Dodgers get the jump on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Base hit, run batted in for Hairston, and the batter is Andre Ethier. Let's take a look back through the books as far as Ethier and Miley is concerned. Andre hitting .273 against him. That would be 3 for 11. So the Dodgers lead 1-0 on a walk and 2 hits. Ethier trying to keep it going. Puig at second. Hairston at first with 2 out. Miley out of his stretch. Wade looks back at Puig. Now to the plate, and it is swung on and fouled back. 0-1. We were talking about Miley before. He was 7-0 in the daylight, 15-14 at night. It might not be exactly up to date, but it does give you an indication of what's been going on with him. Miley trying to get out of a first inning problem. And the strike 1 pitch to Andre Ethier, swung on, fouled away, and the count 0-2. Wade Miley, in looking at some of his other numbers, he has allowed 7 home runs. In fact, make it 8. 8 home runs. Left-hander, a high set, then thinks better, backs off the rubber, and he asks Montero to go over the signs again. So Wade looks in. He was 16-11 last year with Arizona. Strike 2 pitch to Ethier in the dirt. Nice block by Miggy, and a 1-ball 2-strike count. Mark Ellis walked and came around to score, and Miley really kind of avoiding him because he has 3 home runs against Miley. 1-2 to Andre Ethier. The left-hander delivers. It is low and away, pushed out in front of the plate by Montero. That was a textbook maneuver by the catcher, and he then keeps on going to go out to talk to Miley, maybe to try and settle him down. Boy, they tell you how to do it, and he did it. Just block it, push it out in front, so you keep the play directly in front of you. Miley coming into the game with an ERA of 4.9. Last year, his earned run average was 3.3, so he's been struggling. 2-2 pitch on the way is swung on and pulled foul outside of first and down the line. Miley has beaten the Dodgers 3 times, lost to them once. All 3 victories here at Dodger Stadium. So Wade has done very well here, and the Dodgers trying to change that a little. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. A look at the runners. The pitch deep here. That's lined to right field, but right at par. So Andre Ethier drilled it, but at Gerardo Parra. So the Dodgers wind up with a run on 2 hits and leave 2 and lead 1-0. Work with, though he takes the mound leading 1-0. When you compare these 2 teams, naturally one team is in first place and the other team is last, and one reason: unearned runs. 10 by the Diamondbacks, 31 by the Dodgers. You could also move it another notch. The errors. Arizona has made 25 and the Dodgers have made 47. Cody Ross will lead it off for Kirk Gibson. Then it'll be Montero and Prado. Cody, at one time a Dodger. Right-hand batter, promptly pulls it down the left field line. That's in there for maybe an extra base hit. Hairston chasing it into second base goes Ross with a long double into the left field corner. So just like that, the Diamondbacks have the tying run at second and nobody out. For Kershaw, in his last 5 starts against Arizona, he's lost 4. So he has a 4-game losing streak. He is 5-4 with the league, 7-6 this in lifetime, 0-1 this year. So Clayton struggling, and as we mentioned earlier, as Hairston did his best to hold it to a double. Kershaw, his earned run average is always a little out of shape in May and June. So Clayton working on the left-hand hitting catcher Miguel Montero. Tying run at second, nobody out. Montero takes a strike and the count 0-1. Montero has done a great job catching. He is struggling hitting. He doesn't hit Kershaw well in the past, nor is he hitting well with runners in scoring position up to now. He swings, beats it foul off to the right of the plate, and the count 0-2. Montero, with runners in scoring position this year, is hitting 5-0. And he has Cody Ross out there at second base. So Kershaw given a run, but now threatened to give it back. Montero, who was an all-star in 2011, he's from Caracas in Venezuela. Signed out of a tryout camp. Strike 2 pitch coming up to Montero, and a shot up the middle for a base hit. Here comes Ross around third. Ethiers throw up the line, not in time. So just like that, Ross doubles, and Montero does what he normally doesn't do. Drives in a runner from scoring position.
14, Martin Parra.
So just like that, Kershaw is not quite the Kershaw that he was at the start of the year. It's been an effort for him. The Cody doubles, Miggy singles, and Gerardo Prado checking in. Parra gets a lot of his hits against right-hand pitching. He has 58 hits. You have to worry about him because he has a dozen infield hits. The Prado with Parra on deck. And the first pitch to Martin, a little roller. Ellis charging, picks it up, flips, and gets him. Taking second is Montero. So one away, and Parra coming up. A reminder, tomorrow at 7:10, the first 50,000 fans in attendance take home a Dodger beach chair presented by Farmer John. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotion. Come on out and have a seat. Take a seat. Miguel Montero, who got the RBI single on a no-ball 2-strike count. And here is Parra, left-hand batter. Out of a stretch goes Kershaw, and the first pitch a little high, ball 1. Gerardo Parra always seems to be in the thick of things. You remember, he and Kershaw had some words. A pitch to him, and he didn't like it. Then he hit a home run and stood and watched it, and Kershaw hollering from the dugout. However, Parra is hitting 313 against Kershaw. The 1-0 pitch is high and tight. 2-0 the count. Parra 5 for 16 against Kershaw. We have a 1-1 tie. We're in the second inning. Dodgers had Ellis walk, a 2-out single by Puig, a single by Hairston to drive in Ellis. But the Diamondbacks got right back. Ross a double and a single by Montero. So the 2-0 pitch to Gerardo Parra, and Kershaw is in no hurry to pitch it. Clayton looks down the barrel, reading Fedorovich. On deck, Chad Pennington, the shortstop, switch hitter. Now the 2-0 pitch to Gerardo Parra, and that's taken in there. 2-1 the count. So Parra in and out of the box for the moment. He's from Venezuela. 5'11", about 200. 26 years old. Signed by the D-backs 9 years ago. The 2-1 pitch, and Parra holds up. It's low. So far this year, Parra has 12 infield hits, and he's very high on the club in hits on the road. He has 45 base hits away from Phoenix. He also has 2 bunt singles, and we have a 3-1 count. So Kershaw with a lot to think over, and on deck, Chad Pennington. Clayton, left foot on the rubber, looks down the barrel to get a sign. Outfield almost straight away, but Ethier shaded a little bit, just a little, towards left center. Now the 3-1 pitch to Parra, fastball, foul back. Kershaw hits 93 on the gun, and the count stays 3-2. Gerardo Parra from Santa Barbara del Zulia in Venezuela. Trying to pick up Miguel Montero, who drove in the tying run. Parra back up, bends at the knees and waist, and then straightens up. 3-2 the count. Kershaw looked back at Montero out of his stretch, and the left-hander ready, deals fastball foul back. 93 again. When Bob Melvin was the manager of Arizona and he first saw Gerardo Parra, he said he reminds him a little bit of Bobby Abreu. Well, Abreu had a great career. Gerardo first came up in 2009. Well, this is his 5th year in the big leagues. 3-2. Kershaw, another look back at Montero with 1 out. And the 3-2 pitch is taken off the plate. Ball 4. So a single, a double, and a walk here in the 2nd inning. 2 on, a run in, 1 out. And Chad Pennington coming up. Cliff Pennington, I'm sorry. Cliff is from Corpus Christi, Texas. 5'10", 210. He'll be 29 on the 15th. Cliff hitting .236 with a home run, 12 runs batted in. 2 on, 1 out. Kershaw ready. Here he comes, and it is whacked down the left field line. Foul ball. Bounced up into the stands. Boy, that thing was drilled. Pennington is the fellow, you may or may not remember the story, where his father wrote a book about him, and the book was entitled Too Small to Play Ball, focusing on the mental side of playing baseball. Cliff back up, 0-1 the count. Went to school at Texas A&M and was a 1st-round pick by the Oakland A's. Strike 1 pitch is swung on. That's hit foul. 0-2 the count. Pennington signed by Oakland and made it to Oakland in 2008. But he was there from 2008 until this year. 2 on, 1 out, 1 in, and we have a 1-1 tie. Montero at second, Parra at first. And Kershaw again down from the mound. He wants to talk to Fedorovich. Remember, he was 0-2 on Montero, and Montero singled in the tying run. Now he is 0-2 on Pennington. Pennington, when he was with the A's, struck out 100 times, only once in about 6 years. So he's pretty much of a contact hitter. But Kershaw 0-2 gives him the pitch away. A 92-mile-an-hour fastball. For Cliff Pennington right now, he has struck out a total of 32 times, only 9 right-handed. On deck, Wade Miley. Kershaw struggling a little bit, and the 1-2 pitch on the way. Big off speed. I think that was supposed to be kind of a rainbow curve. It was up there at only 72 miles an hour, but there was nothing on it. It was just a pitch up, and nothing else happened. Remember the last time he pitched, he was bouncing pitches. Fedorovich working overtime to dig him out of the dirt. Well, here's the 2-2 pitch. Fastball fouled away upstairs off to the right. Two balls and 2 strikes. The count to Cliff Pennington. Kershaw struggling now. He's made 29 pitches, meaning 18 in the inning. Here's the 2-2 pitch coming up. With 1 out, it's a pitch lifted to left field, slightly left center. Hairston moves over, makes the catch. The runners hold. So Pennington, a fly ball to Hairston, 2 down, and Wade Miley coming up.
Pitcher number 36.
No rest for the
Wade
weary.
Miley.
Miley is not a bad hitter. He only has a couple of hits, but he does have a home run. He has a home run against Matt Cain, of all people, in San Francisco. Hit it atop the wall in right field. So Wade at the plate. Kershaw trying to use him as an escape hatch, and a fastball swung on and missed. 0-1 to count to Miley. So the Dodgers got a first inning run. The Diamondbacks come back here in the top of the second and tie it up, and then they threaten to get ahead. Here's the strike one pitch to Wade Miley, and that's fouled away. 0-2. The last time Kershaw pitched, I'm pretty sure it was one of the important insights into his game. There were 29 swings and foul. And for a fellow with Kershaw stuff, you expect a lot of swings and misses. So far, he's already at 8 foul balls. Here's the strike two pitch on the way. Clayton's curveball is pulled along first, fielded by Gonzalez, feeding Clayton coming over, and that's the inning. Still, he's now made 32 pitches. He gives up the run, and at the end of an inning and a half, a 1-1 tie. The second inning. Take a look at the National League West. Arizona being challenged by both the Giants and Colorado. They each trail by 1.5. San Diego 6. Dodgers could make a move. The destiny's in their own hands. 7.5 back and playing the team out in front. We have a 1-1 tie, and we go to the bottom of the second inning. It would be Uribe, Fedorovich, and Kershaw. Personnel move. Matt McGill, who has labored, great arm, good stuff, but fighting his control, so he's been sent down. Justin Sellers, who is tearing it up at Albuquerque, has been called back. 1-1, bottom of the second, and here is Uribe, and he looks at a fastball at the knees for a strike, and the count 0-1. Uribe hitting .270. Swings, doesn't get it. Pinch hitter yesterday and struck out. He has 2 home runs, 10 runs batted in. Now the strike two pitch on the way. Swung on, whacked foul off the protective fencing in front of the Dodger dugout. Still 0-2 to Juan Uribe. Wade Miley and Clayton Kershaw tonight. Strike two fastball nubbed halfway back to the mound. Miley takes care of that easily, and we have one away. Tomorrow night, It'll be Zach Greinke, and he'll go up against Ian Kennedy. And then the concluding game of the series and the 10-game homestand, it will be Hyun-Jin Ryu and Patrick Corbin. Right now, 1 run, 2 hits for each team. Corbin 9-0. What a great way to start the year. Get your name linked with people like Whitey Ford. Miley delivers to Tim Fedorovich. That misses. 1 ball and no strikes. Tim hitting just 184, having a lot of trouble making contact. He has struck out 18 times. 2-0 the count. Clayton Kershaw waiting on deck. Time. Miley pitches in a hurry, and Fedorovich just wasn't ready. Now the 2-0 pitch on the way. Fedorovich takes low. 3 balls and no strikes. Wade Miley, like Clayton Kershaw, he's been a winner. The pitch to Fedorovich in for a strike. If you look at wins by left-handers since last year, Gio Gonzalez is top of the heap. 3-1 pitch is hit down to the hole at short. Long throw by Pennington in the dirt. Backhanded nicely by Paul Goldschmidt. And just like that, 2 down.
Dodger pitcher number 22, Clayton Kershaw.
The talented left-handers. Gonzalez has 124. Madison Bumgarner has 121. Wade Miley and Paul Maholm have 120. Kershaw, since last year, has 119, along with Cole Hamels, Mike Minor, whom we just saw, and Barry Zito. Kershaw backs off, takes a strike, and the count 0-1. We were talking earlier the difference between Arizona and the Dodgers. One reason why there's such a big difference in the standings. Arizona has made only 25 errors. The Dodgers are tied with Washington. They've made 47 errors. Who's the top fielding team in the National League? The St. Louis Cardinals. They have made only 23 errors. 1-2 the count to Clayton Kershaw. 2 outs, second inning, 1-1 tie. Fastball down and away. Wade hitting 92 on the gun. The 2-2 pitch on the way. Kershaw looks. He doesn't have to be told. He walks away before it was called. So he strikes out, and the Dodgers go in order as Miley walks off at the end of 2, a 1-1 tie. Clayton Kershaw going up against another talented left-hander, Wade Miley. For Arizona, as we go to the third, it'll be A.J. Pollock, then Willie Bloomquist, and Paul Goldschmidt. Pollock is a fellow who's a very aggressive hitter. He has only walked 8 times in about 210 plate appearances. He will steal third for you. He has stolen third base twice. So A.J. Pollock will begin matters here in the third. Pollock, with other rookies, has 17 doubles, tied for first. He has scored 27, so he'd be tied for second in that area. He's hit safely 12 of the last 13. And A.J., right-hand batter, promptly bangs it to left. Hairston moving quickly to pick it off. So Pollock doesn't hang around, first ball swinging, and one away. And Willie Bloomquist will be coming up. Bloomquist began the year with 4 straight multi-hit games. And the next thing you know, he strained his right oblique and was put on the DL. And he was on the DL till the end of May. Right-hand batter, and Willie backs off. The pitch is low, ball 1. Willie is the first Arizona State University baseball player to play for the D-backs. The 1-0 pitch on the way. Bloomquist backs off, but that catches it in at the knees. 1-1 the count. Bloomquist is from Bremerton, Washington. As we said, went to Arizona State. He'll be 36 in November. Originally a 3rd-round pick by the Mariners. He backs off. The pitch misses. 2-1 to count. Willie was signed by the Mariners back in 1999. Came up with them in 2002. Went to the Royals in 2009. Came to Arizona in 2011. Takes another strike. And the count 2-2. Kind of shakes his head. I can't believe you would call that a strike. Waiting on deck, hitting behind him, Paul Goldschmidt. 2-2 pitch on the way. Kershaw deals, and that's fisted foul. He looks at his bat thinking he might have cracked it. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count to Willie Bloomquist. Willie always remembered his own excitement when he was about 6. His mom bought him a pair of pajamas designed like a baseball uniform. He wore it night and day. He backs off, and the pitch outside, off speed at 74. The Kershaw goes 3-2. Bloomquist waits with 1 out, 3rd inning, 1-1 tie. Next pitch is hit into center field for a base hit. Fastball at 93. But Bloomquist, as the players say, was sitting on it and probably singled. Now that will bring up Paul Goldschmidt. And if you wanted to talk about what Goldschmidt has done, you need at least a half an hour. He's been averaging an RBI a little less than every 4 at-bats. I mean, he's hitting .319, 15 home runs, 58 runs batted in. 25 of his RBIs have come with 2 strikes. Right-hand batter bends at the knees and waist a little bit. Kershaw's pitch is punched on the ground to Mark Ellis. They will get 1 and no further action. So Punta unable to make the play. Goldschmidt hits into the force play. And with 2 out, the batter will be Cody Ross. Ball was not hit hard enough, 4-6. Punto had to go wide to get out of the way of the sliding Bloomquist, so he lost the play. Goldschmidt, by the way, coming into this game, was hitting only .118 against Kershaw. Now the batter Cody Ross, who doubled and scored a run in the 2nd inning to tie up the game. Cody takes the strike, 0-1. Ross was 5 for 20 hitting .250 against Clayton, so that goes up a notch. He's done very well against left-handers, batting .380. 0-1 the count to Cody Ross. 1 run, 3 hits for Arizona. 1 run, 2 hits for the Dodgers. Strike 1 pitch on the way. Clayton deals, and it's in the dirt. Blocked nicely by Fedorovich. 1-1 the count. Goldschmidt held on at first base. 2 down, 3rd inning, a 1-1 tie. Cody Ross, who among other ways played for the Dodgers briefly, has always hit well here in this ballpark. He takes another one in the dirt, and another nice save by Fedorovich. Ross, in his career, playing at Dodger Stadium with or against the Dodgers, lifetime is hitting .313 here. Ross in and out of the box, now settles in. 2 balls and 1 strike the count. 2 out. Kershaw out of a stretch. Looks over at Goldschmidt, comes to the plate, and the pitch a little high. 3-1 the count to Cody, who is only 5'9", so you don't get that much of a strike zone. Waiting on deck, Miguel Montero, who had a no ball 2 strike count pitch and promptly singled to drive in the tying run. 3-1 the count. Kershaw deals. That's a line drive base hit into left field. Up with it there is Hairston. So just like that, Ross goes 2 for 2
Catcher, number 26,
Kershaw.
Miguel Montero.
2 hits in the inning. Runners at first and second with 2 out. And Kershaw now will be pitching to Montero, who had that single to center to drive in the tying run. Clayton has made 47 pitches. I'm not sure if it's any indication. We've talked about the fact they are swinging but not missing. They're fouling off pitches. And you look back, and he has struck out 1. So here's Montero, 2 on, 2 out, 1-1 in the 3rd. Kershaw out of a stretch. He'll look at the runners, and now Clayton to the plate. Big swing and a miss by Montero. Miguel has 3 home runs, 19 runs batted in. Looking up Montero against Kershaw. The strike 1 pitch, and that's foul back. 0-2. Miguel Montero was hitting just 174 when he got that base hit. So he's improved a little bit. He has 5 hits and 24 at bats against Kershaw. Montero, also with a base hit, has reached base safely 19 straight games. 0-2 the count. Kershaw comes back, slow curveball, strike 3 call. That's the pitch that's been missing. So Montero, deer in the headlights. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left at the end of 2.5, a 1-1 tie. 1-1 tie as we go to the bottom of the third inning. Don't forget Tuesday, June 25th, the Dodgers and the Giants. And the first 40,000 fans in attendance take home their own Dodger beach towel, compliments of Time Warner Cable. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. Dodgers got a run in the first inning. Ellis walked. Puig singled him to second. Hairston singled him home. Diamondbacks came right back. Ross doubled. Montego singled him home. So we're 1-1, bottom of the third, and ball one now to Nick Punto. Punto struck out in the first inning. Looks at a fastball on the outside corner. 1-1 to Nick. Hitting .283. He has 1 home run, 10 runs batted in, and has done very well against Arizona. Fouls it back. 1-2. So Punto, Ellis, Gonzalez, and if anybody gets on, Yasiel Puig, who singled to right in the first inning. He's hit in 5 straight and has recently been proclaimed the National League Player of the Week. Player of the Week. He just arrived, but what a week. Ramon Hernandez, the veteran catcher, sitting in front of him. Next pitch is hit foul down the right field line, out of play. So we're in the bottom of the third. Dodgers have done well against left-handers here at Dodger Stadium. They are 9-4 against left-handers here, and yet Miley, all 3 of his wins here against the Dodgers. So he contradicts the numbers. 3-2 to Nick Punto. Miley has made 43 pitches. Clayton in his 3 innings made 50. Tomorrow night, Zach Greinke will go up against Ian Kennedy. Fastball punch to the right side. On it is Bloomquist, makes the play. So Punto rolls the other way. 1 down. And now Mark Ellis.
Dodgers second baseman, number 14, Mark Ellis.
As we told you, Ellis has worn out Miley in the past. 8 for 18, 3 home runs, a .444 batting average. So Miley was very careful with him and walked him in the first inning. Wade ready, and the first pitch on the inside corner for a strike. 0-1. That was only 84. Little cutter. Strike 1. Fastball almost decapitates Miley as it goes right over his shoulder into center field. So Mark Ellis loves to bat against Wade Miley. There's no 2 doubts about that. And the batter will be Adrian Gonzalez. Fastball down the middle and right over the head of Miley. It dropped to his right knee. Get out of the way of it. So now here is Gonzalez with Puig on deck. Gonzalez got a lot of fastballs in the first inning and fly deep to right. And Yasiel waiting on deck. Miley ready. First pitch swung on and missed. 0-1 off speed. Gonzalez against Miley. 2 for 6 coming into the game. We have a 1-1 tie, bottom of the third. Miley out of a stretch, and his strike 1 pitch is taken a little low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Larry Vanover is the plate umpire to begin the big series. Larry's had over 20 years in the big leagues. He's done the NLC and the American League Championship Series. Here's the 1-1 pitch, and that's a chopper to first. Goldschmidt down to the shortstop for 1. The return, double play, and that means Puig can't come up. So Gonzalez grounding into the double play, started by Goldschmidt, and at the end of 3, a 1-1 tie. Other than Clayton Kershaw, who do you think is the best left-handed starter in the National League? Patrick Corbin, Gio Gonzalez, or Cliff Lee? Tweet #lefty and then add the name Corbin, Gonzalez, or Lee, and it'll be interesting how you vote. Corbin going to the water. We will see him against Ryu Wednesday night. One ball and no strikes to Martin Prado. That was a big deal when Justin Upton was traded to Atlanta. A lot of people thought that was a bad deal for Arizona, but they're in first place. Prado with 4 home runs, 18 RBIs. Of course, at the other end, you could say, yeah, well, so is Atlanta. 1-1 to Prado. Punched wide. Gonzalez plays him way over there. Takes it to the bag. 1 away in the 4th. And now Gerardo Parra. Parra with a dozen infield hits. He has 2 bunt singles, and he's been red hot. That's ball 1. Parra has a little 5-game hitting streak. Walked in the 2nd inning. Hit safely in 12 of the last 13 as well. There's the bunt attempt. Sooner or later, you know he's going to try. 1 ball and 1 strike to Gerardo Parra. I remember the scouting report years ago on outfielder Lou Brock, who of course was world famous for stealing bases. But in the scouting report, they said we'll try to bunt at least once in every game. Foul ball. 1-2 the count to Parra. In his last series, went 4 for 10 against the Giants. Another thing about him, the league might try to run on him, but he has 7 outfield assists. He was a Gold Glover when he played left field 2 years ago. 1-2. Little roller. Gonzalez to the bag. 2 down. And the batter now will be Cliff Pennington.
Shortstop number 4, Cliff Pennington.
So Pennington coming up. He flied to left field in the 2nd inning. Cliff has certainly settled in nicely after the first 40. His high batting average in the big leagues, probably around 280. And ball 1. Pennington with Miley on deck. We're in the 4th. We have a 1-1 tie. Arizona has beaten the Dodgers a whole bunch. Let's put it that way. 5 out of 6 this year. 15 of the last 20 played at Dodger Stadium. 15 of the last 18 head-to-head. And remember, Arizona's still the only team not shut out in the majors. And the line drive caught by Kershaw. That does it for Pennington. Take another look. Right there. So down go the D-backs. And at the end of 3.5 innings, we have a 1-1 tie. Prime Ticket is brought to you by your Southern California Kia retailers. Visit mysocalkia.com. By Time Warner, enjoy all the things you love better. Call 1-855-1-TWC. And by El Pollo Loco, crazy you can taste. We go to the bottom of the fourth inning. It is sunset time here in Los Angeles. Beautiful evening. 69 degrees when the ball game started. And Puig promptly bangs the first pitch for a base hit into left field. And makes a big turn and holds on. I mean, is he incredible or what? Puig is 2 for 2. That means he has 15 hits in 7 games plus tonight. And he doesn't hang around. Just promptly jumped on the first. I remember in his first 19 at-bats, he swung at the first pitch 10 times. When he singled in the first inning, he hit the second pitch. And now here in the fourth, he hits the first. But what's so interesting about him, he singled to right and singled to left, close at first. He is not familiar, of course, with the moves, and you are looking at a fella who not only has a great move, he only has allowed in his career 8 stolen bases, and 8 have been caught. So Miley watching and goes over there again. So only 16 runners have even attempted to steal a base on Wade Miley since 2011, and you can't believe that they would risk trying to run Puig. Meanwhile, Hairston is single to drive in a run in the first inning, and that's 1 ball and no strikes. So Puig 2 for 2 is hitting 5 straight. Very comfortable in the cleanup spot. One ball, no strikes. Fastball in there. Boy, I bet you Ian Kennedy and Patrick Corbin watch everything that Puig does, how Miley pitches him, and then they'll talk things over before tomorrow night's game. 1 ball, 1 strike. He has not taken a big enough lead to slide back to the bag, and I'm sure they cautioned Puig before the game. This guy has a devastating move, so don't wander far off. 1-1. Fastball at the kneecaps, but inside. Ball 2. 2-1. Hairston hitting .264 with a home run and 8 runs batted in. Puig at first, nobody out. 1-1, 4th inning. Well, they're not worrying about a stolen base, but they are worrying about hit and run. So 2-1 count to Hairston. And that's smoked into right field. Dave takes 1 look. He's going to go to third. A good throw to third. He is out at third. The turnabout is fair play. Puig has nailed a man at third, and this time Gerardo Parra shakes his hand as if saying, no, you don't go from first to third on me. The great throw by Gerardo Parra, and Puig, with all of his speed, is nailed. A perfect on the fly to the third baseman Prado. So back-to-back hits, but an out at third. So 1 away. Close. Tag on the elbow before the hand hit the bag. Andre Ethier late on that pitch. So Gerardo Parra with his 8th assist. I mean, he can do it. love the way he waved his index finger. No, no, no. In the dirt. Nice block by Montero. 1 run, 4 hits for Arizona. 1 run, 5 hits for the Dodgers. And we're in the bottom of the 4th inning. On deck, Juan Uribe. Sadder but wiser, finding out there are others in this league who have cannons. 1-1. Pulled down to the right side and off the glove of Bloomquist into right field. So it looked like it'd be a double play ball, and Willie couldn't handle it. Probably thinking to, and just commits the error.
For the Dodgers,
So
third baseman,
Ethier and
number 5,
Hairston
Juan
are
Uribe.
aboard. Miley has not gotten an out. Bloomquist drawing the error, and the Dodgers get a break, and Uribe comes up. Remember, this is a very good fielding team. Arizona has committed now 26 errors. Bloomquist has been on the DL, has only played 8 games, and that's his first error. So here's Uribe. 2 on, 1 out, 1-1 tie. Ball 1. Uribe hit back to the box in the 2nd inning. Hairston at second, Ethier at first. That's a little low, and again, Montero pushing it out in front of the plate. 2-0 to count. Montero is the veteran of handling that play, but all of us have been pretty impressed about Tim Fedorovich, how he's been able to get down there and block those pitches. 2 balls and no strikes. And ball 3. Tim Fedorovich waiting his turn on deck. 1 out and a 3-0 count. They might green light Uribe. It's 2 home runs, 10 runs batted in, maybe. Yep. And it's a fly ball into right center and shallow. It's not only going to land, it's going to bounce away. 1 run is in, and the Dodgers are at 2nd and 3rd, leading 2-1. So why not let him swing 3-0? You have a weak hitting catcher, number 8, hitting back of him. You figure he's going to get a strike, and he hits a 3-0 skyer into right center, and by the time they're finished, Uribe has a pop fly double and a run batted in. Pollock couldn't get it, just missed, and then Parra ran by. So AJ unable to make the play. Hairston brings the run in. It is 2-1 in favor of the Dodgers. And the batter now will be Tim Fedorovich with runners at 2nd and 3rd. Dodgers 2 runs, 6 hits. Arizona 1 run, 4 hits. They are going to walk Fedorovich with 1 out and first base open. And Clayton Kershaw will be coming up. Well, once again, we get into a discussion not about Gibson walking Kershaw, who's not a bad hitter. The big discussion is, what do you do now that Kershaw will be coming up in a moment with the bases loaded, 1 out? The worst thing he can do is swing and hit into an inning-ending double play. I remember asking Tony La Russa, did you ever have a pitcher come up with the bases loaded, ordered not to swing? And Tony said, quote, lots of times. Well, we'll see what Don Mattingly does, whether he puts handcuffs on Kershaw, who's a good hitter. Kershaw has 7 hits, a home run, and 3 runs batted in. The infield, the corners are up, and up the middle they're playing for the double play. 1 out. Foul ball, 0-1, so obviously it's not one of those don't swing at bats. Dodgers have Ethier at third, Uribe at second, Fedorovich at first. 1 out. Dodgers lead 2-1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Kershaw has walked once and struck out 4 times. Ball 2, fastball up and in at 92. So Clayton has the count his way, 2-1. Two balls, 1 strike. And another strike. 2-2 to Clayton. At third base, Andre Ethier. Juan Uribe at second. Tim Fedorovich at first. 1 out. 2 ball, 2 strike count. And ground ball to short. I'll tell you what, boy, I wouldn't let him swing. However, the Dodgers get a run on 3 hits and an error plus a walk, and at the end of 4, lead 2-1. With Arizona tomorrow night and Wednesday night, Dodgers then go to Pittsburgh, New York, and finish up in San Diego for 4, and then come home for a 3-game series with the Giants starting on the 24th, and then a 4-game series against Philadelphia. Then they go back out on the road again. Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers, to sum up really what's happening to him this year so far. In the 4th inning, the Dodgers had 2 singles, a double, a walk, and an error. And they got 1 run. But the run puts them in front. They lead 2-1, and we go to the 5th with Miley, Pollock, and Bloomquist. Puig, 2 for 2. Thrown out trying to go from first to third, so now he knows about the other half. So Clayton Kershaw working on Wade Miley. And a strike. Boy, what a nice evening in the ballpark. Good ball game, 2-1 Dodgers. Miley grounded out in the second inning. 0-2. And breaking ball puts him away. 3 pitches to nail Miley. For Clayton Kershaw, that would be his 3rd strikeout. And the batter, A.J. Pollock. Pollock flied to right, flied to left, 0 for 2. Pollock last year played in only 31 games for Arizona. So he's really just starting. Ball 1. That's in there. Pollock, good all-around athlete, not only played a lot of baseball in high school, he also played basketball, varsity soccer. 1-2. Of course, his father was a rugby player at Boston College, and they tell me AJ plays the guitar, plays mostly classic rock and alternative. Went to school at Notre Dame and majored in sociology. Way off the plate, 2-2. AJ was a first-round pick out of Notre Dame back in 2009. 2-1 Dodgers. Top of the 5th. In the dirt. Kirk Gibson plays Pollock a tribute by saying he's a guy who will listen as Bloomquist waits on deck. 3-2 to A.J. Pollock. Pulled to the hole, backhanded there by Punto. Good throw, 2 down.
Batting up, second baseman, Willie Bloomquist.
Kershaw now has retired 6 in a row. Willie Bloomquist flied to left, single to center, committed the error in the 4th inning. Willie 1 for 2. Well, Bloomquist will probably feel better about things in one respect. Chopper to short. Here's Punto throwing on the run to get him. Remember the ground ball that got away from Bloomquist? They charge him with an error. They are now saying no, credit a base hit for Ethier. So the run is earned, and we go to the bottom of the 5th with the Dodgers leading 2-1. Dodgers take a 2-1 lead into the bottom of the 5th inning. Punto, Ellis, Gonzalez. That's ball 1. They're going to check. No attempt to bunt, so 1 ball and no strikes. Nick has struck out and grounded out. Puig due to bat 4th in the inning. And if you just joined us, Yasiel Puig is 2 for 2 tonight. 2 singles. Fouled away. Two runs, 7 hits for the Dodgers. 1 run, 4 hits for the Dodgers. For Arizona. The Dodgers were looking at a note. Arizona has beaten them, as we told you, 15 of the last 18 times. But before that, the Dodgers dominated Arizona. Dominating with a .632 percentage, 43 of 68. 1-2 to Punto. Then Ellis, who has walked and singled. Then Gonzalez, who has flied to right and grounded into a double play. Still fouled off. I think Nick got a little of that on his foot. So he's going to walk it off. One and 2. Little ground ball to Bloomquist. 1 away in the 5th inning. A reminder, Saturday, June 29, Dodgers Phillies 7:10. Be one of the first 40,000 fans in attendance, and you'll receive your own set of Dodger earbuds, compliments of T-Mobile. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotion. One out in the 5th. Mark Ellis, who has worn out Wade Miley, hitting better than 800. He's walked and singled. And ball 1. Ellis with 3 home runs in the past against Miley. One ball and 1 strike. Mark Ellis had 8 hits coming into the game, and he's walked and singled, so he now has 9 hits against Miley. And it's a high fly ball to deep left field. Ross goes back. It is gone. I mean, he wears out Miley. That is the 4th home run that he has hit against Wade Miley. It is the 10th hit that he has against Wade Miley, and he now makes it 3-1 Dodgers. For Mark Ellis, his 3rd home run of the year. For Wade Miley, the 9th home run that he has allowed. Breaking ball, and Mark went down to get it and reached the seats. So here's Adrian Gonzalez, and he lifts a fly ball into shallow right. A trio of D-backs, Bloomquist making the catch. So Mark Ellis makes it 3-1 Dodgers in the 5th inning. And here comes Puig. Yeah, he just wears out Miley. Yasiel Puig, he singled to right field in the 1st inning. Puig singled to left in the 4th. Thrown out. Trying to go from 1st to 3rd by Gerardo Parra on a base hit to right field. The National League Player of the Week. Gerardo Parra nailed him for Parra, remember, his 8th outfield assist. A strike. and fouled away. So Puig in a hole now. No balls, 2 strikes. He has 15 hits in 30 at-bats. One and two. In the dirt. Arizona intently watching the players draped on the railing in front of the Arizona bench. They've already seen this kid Puig go 2 for 2. Yeah, you can bet if you're a pitcher like Trevor Cahill. Check swing, but they're going to call him on it. So Puig could not check. Down he goes. But Mark Ellis did more than check. He cashed it in with a home run, and it's 3-1 Dodgers. A remarkable athlete. When he was with the Dodgers, on this day he stole a base against Montreal. He then proceeded to steal 38 in a row before they got him. He wound up his long career 557 stolen bases. 557. Let's go back to this one. 3-1 in favor of the Dodgers. 16 years with the Dodgers, then he moved on. He played with the Cubs and with Oakland, finished up with Houston. Davey Lopes. Paul Goldschmidt has struck out, hit into a force play, 0 for 2. That's foul back out of play. That's fastball alley. 92 miles an hour when they go up there. Paul Goldschmidt has been carrying Arizona. 2-2. He has 25 runs batted in with 2 strikes on him. He's been averaging an RBI little less than 1 every 4 at bats. Breaking ball gets him, and Kershaw has had no trouble with him at all. Not just tonight, but in their careers. As Goldschmidt goes back, no one has to remind him he came into the game hitting 118 against Clayton Kershaw. He is 0 for 3 tonight. So he has 2 hits in 20 at-bats. So he's batting 100 against Clayton Kershaw. It's also the 4th strikeout for Clayton. And Cody Ross, however, is a different story. He's 2 for 2. Ball 1. And hit down the right field line, slicing away and lands foul. Though Cody will have to come back. He double a left, single a left, 2 for 2. Cody Ross followed by Miguel Montero. Three runs, 8 hits for the Dodgers, 1 run, 4 hits for Arizona. Zach Greinke, Ian Kennedy tomorrow night. Ball 2. Concluding game Wednesday night, Hyun-Jin Ryu and Patrick Corbin. Fastball, and Cody's all over it. So Ross is 3 for 3, a double and 2 singles.
Catcher number 26, Miguel
5
Montero.
hits for Arizona, and Ross has 3 of them. Got a fastball, bang, no surprise. Of course, we told you that Cody was hitting like 380 against left-hand pitching this year anyway. 1 out, and the batter Montero. In the dirt. 1 ball and no strikes. Montero makes what they call productive outs. You know, trying to move a guy from second to third, whatever. He would be number 1 in the league in productive outs. They keep that close a tab on players. Ball 2. He rarely swings and misses. He'll foul off a lot. Montero has struck out 48 times, and he's struggling, barely above 200. He had 2 strikes on him, 0-2, when he singled in the run in the second inning. 2-1. That 2-0 count, he's had that 46 times. But hitting only 200, he hasn't been able to cash it in very much. With 1 out, there's a thought, veteran catcher. He's grounded into 9 double plays. So Ross held on by Gonzalez. 1 out, 6th inning, 3-1 Dodgers. Roller down to Mark Ellis. They'll get 1. And Miguel has hit into 10 double plays. So no runs, 1 hit, nobody left, and at the end it's 5.5, 3-1 Dodgers. 23 pitches. But take a look at the scoreboard, see what's going on. Will Venables hit a 3-run home run. Padres lead the Braves 5-1 in the 7th. Milwaukee's Jonathan LaCroix with 4 hits, leading Milwaukee 6-1 to victory over Miami. Brandon Phillips drove in all 6 runs as the Reds beat the Cubs 6-2. By the way, in that Miami game, Giancarlo Stanton has come back, playing his first game. Dodgers will have Hairston, Ethier, and Uribe in that order. Ball 1. Gary single to center, single to right. 2 for 2. Now he's 3 for 3. So Hairston and Ross, the left fielders, there's a half a dozen hits out there between those two.
Center fielder, number 16,
Andre Ethier coming up, lined out to right and singled. It was originally called an error, and then the official scorer changed his mind. So Andre 1 for 2, hitting .232. That was the 4th inning, where the Dodgers now had 4 hits and a walk and got 1 run. Ball 1 to Andre. 4 home runs, 15 runs batted in. Fouled away. Looking ahead, when the Diamondbacks come up in the 7th, they'll have Prado, Parra, and Pennington, and then Miley Spont. 1-1. Fastball, nice save by Montero. That was in the dirt. 2-1. Andre checking with Tim Wallach. So is the runner Hairston. On deck, Juan Uribe. Two and two. Tomorrow night, Zach Greinke and Ian Kennedy. Wednesday night, Hyun-Jin Ryu and Patrick Corbin. Then the Dodgers go out on the road: Pittsburgh, New York, San Diego. Fastball, got him at the knees. Down he goes. So Ethier is caught looking. That would be the 4th strikeout for Wade Miley. Juan Uribe hit back to the box, and then in the 4th inning, the count ran 3-0, and it was a reasonable assumption they would green light him, and they did. And he lifted a fly ball that dropped in right center for a double. Hard ground ball to short. The feed for 1. They'll double him easily. Boy, he hit that ball right on the screws. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left. And at the end of 6, 3-1 Dodgers. Rethink possible. By your Southern California Toyota dealers. And by Car. Dodger Baseball on Prime Ticket is brought to you by AT&T. Rethink possible. By your Southern California Toyota dealers. And by CarMax. Start the search for your next car at CarMax. Tough ball game. Dodgers leading 3-1. A battle of very talented left-handers. Clayton Kershaw and Wade Miley. In the 7th inning, it'll be Prado, then Parra, then Pennington. Clayton Kershaw, so far, Prado 0 for 2, Parra 0 for 1, Pennington 0 for 2. Clayton has made 83 pitches. Ball 1. Prado grounded out twice to second and first, hitting .246. Prado, like Montero, another fellow who makes productive outs, strikes out about 10% of the time. Ground ball to third, Uribe. So Prado goes 0 for 3, 1 out.
Right fielder, number
Gerardo
8,
Parra
Gerardo Parra.
walked and grounded out. And you can see Kershaw now has made 86 pitches. Parra, however, had a little fun of his own. That was in the 4th inning. Puig had singled, and then Hairston singled to right. And Parra made a perfect throw to third to nail Puig. And then he shook his finger as if saying, no, 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 you don't run on me. And you better not. He has 8 assists out there in right field. Take another look. Base hit hard. But now watch this throw. On the fly to get Puig. Another look. Gets better every time you look at it. There he is. No, no, no. I love that. That's going down the line. On his way for second is Parra. So Gerardo doubles with 1 out. Cliff Pennington will be coming up.
Number 4, Cliff Pennington.
Just slapped that ball. Wasn't a full swing. Just got it and hits it inside the line. Nice bit of hitting. Parra with 46 hits on the road. That was his 20th double. Ball 1. Pennington flied to left, and in the 4th inning hit a bullet, and it was one-handed by Kershaw for the 3rd out. Fastball missed. 2-0. Clayton now has made 90 pitches. He has 4 strikeouts. He's had good control, walking 1. Hard ground ball to third that will hold Parra. Uribe shoots down Pennington. Wade Miley is due up, and he is not going to come up. A nice play by Uribe to freeze Parra. Miley calls it a night, and Gibby going to the bench. We'll check and see who it is. Miley goes 6, allows 3 earned runs, 9 hits. Dodgers trying to beat him here for the first time. Will Nieves will be coming up. Nieves, the backup catcher to Miguel Montero. Will is from Santurce in Puerto Rico. He was originally signed by the Padres in 1995. He was in high school when they signed him. Nieves came up with the Padres in 2002. Then he played for a while with the Yankees, the Nationals, the Brewers, the Rockies, and the D-backs. Trying to pick up Gerardo Parra from second base. And ball one. Nieves with that .404 batting average. He is 3 for 8 as a pinch hitter. 3 for 8 with 3 runs batted in as Charles Brewer begins to warm up. 1 ball and no strikes. In the dirt and over to third goes Parra. No chance for Fedorovich to get him. So it's a wild pitch. Parra takes third with 2 out. So 2-0 the count to Nieves on the wild pitch. On deck, A.J. Pollock. So Miley gives up 3 runs and 9 hits and now becomes a spectator. 2-0. Whoa. 3-0. Trying to get a little extra on it. Got up there at 92. Waiting on deck, A.J. Pollock. Kershaw, by the way, throwing that one away. He has 4 wild pitches. Three and 0. And he missed. Kenley Jansen gets up down in the Dodger bullpen. Diamondbacks have runners at first and third with 2 out. Jansen just starting to throw. A.J. Pollock flied to right, flied to left, grounded to short. He's an aggressive hitter. He doesn't walk. He's only walked 8 times. So Kershaw with the tying runs aboard, leading 3-1. And here's Pollock. A.J. hitting .263, 5 home runs, 22 runs batted in. Nieves taking his lead at first. Parra down the line from third. 2 out. And ball 1. Well, Kershaw, who made 120 pitches in 6 innings his last time out, is 4 away from 100, and he's in the 7th. 1 ball, no strikes. And that's skied foul off first down the line, way upstairs. 1-1 to A.J. Pollock. Pollock is from Hebron, Connecticut. One and 1. 1-2. Took a lot off that. Clayton with 4 strikeouts tonight. He has walked 2. On deck, Willie Bloomquist. One and two to Pollock. Breaking ball in the dirt. Down he goes. The Pollock strikes out. No runs, one hit, two left. Bottom of the seventh, 3-1 Dodgers. Kershaw still in there, leading 3-1. Tough pitching duel, as you can see. Both men have worked hard. 94 pitches for Miley and 99 for Clayton. As far as hits, Miley gave up 9. Dodgers are trying to beat Miley for the first time ever here at Dodger Stadium. And Clayton Kershaw, who had lost 4 straight to Arizona, is trying to do the job. So Miley now draped on the railing, and Charles Brewer takes over for him. Brewer making his major league debut, went to school at UCLA. He's 6'4", 205 pounds, and he was born, of course, in the great year for the Dodgers, 1988. He was born in Paradise Valley over in Arizona, and he lives in Prescott. He was undefeated in his prep career. Remarkable. He went to Chaparral High School, then as a senior committed to UCLA on a baseball scholarship, passed up the Angels offer, and finally was signed by Arizona in the 12th round in 2009. So, Charles Brewer, welcome to the big leagues. The Bruin from UCLA. Dodgers will test him with Fedorovich, Kershaw, or a hitter, and then Punto. Justin Sellers, who has just been called up, is out on deck. High fly ball to deep right field. Parra goes back at the wall and makes a tremendous catch. Oh, what a play by Gerardo Parra. Oh. Boy, that's as good as you get. He got a round of applause from the pitchers in the bullpen looking out through the window. Take another look. Up, crashing, rolling over, somersault, somehow holds on to the ball. And it's the old gag. If you ask Parra what was the last thing he heard from his teammates in the bullpen, they were hollering, "Lots of room." Meanwhile, a salute from Puig on a big play by Parra. He is marvelous. So, for Charles Brewer, he got away with one there. What'd you do in your first hitter? Oh, he hit a fly ball to left field. Oh, great. Yeah. Parra climbing the wall. Wonderful play. 0-2 the count to Sellers, just called up when Matt McGill was sent down. In Arizona history, they have had 3 Gold Gloves. Ball 1. Orlando Hudson, Steve Finley, and you're looking at him, Gerardo Parra. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And that ought to do it. So Sellers dropped in as a hitter, caught looking, down he goes. 2 out, and Punto will be coming up. Clayton Kershaw was 1 ball and no strikes to 16 of the 28 hitters, 57%. In other words, he was pitching behind a lot, but he goes out leading 3-1. He goes out making 99 pitches compared to the 120 he made in his last start. Punto, a strike. So Kershaw went 7 and allowed Arizona 1 run. 6 hits. 2 walks and 4 strikeouts. In fact, check me on the strikeouts. He got Pollock. They'll make it 5. Clayton trying to snap a 4-game losing streak against Arizona. 1-2 to Punto, who has struck out and twice grounded out. One and two. Dodgers scored in the first. Diamondbacks scored in the second. Dodgers scored in the fourth and fifth. Charles Brewer making his big league debut. Two and two. Fouled away. When the Dodgers come up in the bottom of the eighth inning, they'll get down to Puig again. Foul back. I realize there's so much interest in him. People like to know just when is he going to hit again as he talks and, or let's say listens to Matt Kemp. Two balls, two strikes. And ball three. Waiting on deck, Mark Ellis, who had to be very sorry that Wade Miley left the game. Ground ball to short. Pennington makes the play, and so Charles Brewer makes his major league debut and gets a fly ball to left field. Well, at least maybe that's what he'll be telling the grandkids. At the end of 7, 3-1 Dodgers. Other than Kershaw, who's the National League's top left-handed starter? Well, the tweets came in. Corbin at 37%, Gonzalez 17%, Cliff Lee, the veteran, at 46%. Don't forget, as we look at Lee, he is 7-2. And remember, Patrick Corbin, who goes to the mound Wednesday night, he is a perfect 9-0. And he'll go up against Hyun-Jin Ryu. Meanwhile, Kenley Jansen is called in to pick up, with the Dodgers leading 3-1. Kenley 1-3 with a couple of saves. Bloomquist, Goldschmidt, and then Ross. We'll see about Kenley Jansen. And ball one. Willie Bloomquist 0 for 4 against Jansen. Paul Goldschmidt 2 for 6 with a home run. That's a strike. 1-1. And then let's see Cody Ross 0 for 4. One ball and one strike. Fouled away. 1-2 the count to Willie Bloomquist. He is flied to left, single to center, grounded to short, charged with an error in the 4th inning, and then it was changed to a base hit. Andre Ethier hit the ball, went on off the glove of Bloomquist, and it was corrected for a hit. 1-2. Slap foul. Boy, that thing was a blur. Still 1-2 to Willie Bloomquist. One for 3 tonight, 2 for 17. He had 4 straight multi-hit games. 1-2. That got him, I think. Yep. So Bloomquist caught looking. First strikeout for Kenley Jansen. 6 Diamondbacks have struck out. And now here's Paul Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt struck out twice, hit into a force play, went 0 for 3 against Kershaw. And ball one. 41 of Paul's RBIs have been on the road. He has 45 hits on the road. So he's performed well both home and road. Inside, 2-0 the count. Very dangerous from the 7th inning on. He has 5 home runs from the 7th on. He has 4 go-ahead home runs in the 8th inning or later. That's the most in the major leagues. 2 balls and no strikes. And a high fly ball. It's playable. And calling is the center fielder Ethier. 2 down.
Number 7, Cody Ross.
Cody Ross, who is not the hitter against right-handers that he is against left-handers, at least statistically, but he had a big night against Kershaw. 3 for 3. Ross double a left and twice single a left. As a look at the strike. 0-1 to Cody. As you can see, a 200-point difference left and right. Cody played for the Dodgers way back in 2005. 14 games, that's all, and 10 more games in 2006. Got rich in a hurry tonight because coming in he was 4 for 21 and he's 3 for 3. 1 and 2 they count. Cody was on the DL the end of March into the season. He was signed as a free agent by Arizona in December last year. 1 and 2 to Cody Ross. 2 and 2. Jansen hits 95 on the gun. Down in the Dodger bullpen, Brandon Lee slowly getting ready to pitch the ninth. When the Dodgers come up in the bottom of the 8th, Ellis, Gonzalez, and Puig. Ellis has walked, singled, and homered. Gonzalez is 0 for 3. Puig is 2 for 3. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And flared to right. Ellis makes the play. So a nice inning for Kenley Jansen. We're heading for the bottom of the 8th. 3-1 Dodgers. Mark Ellis, who usually is all over Wade Miley anyway, just continued to do it tonight with a walk, a home run, a single, and he scored twice. Yasiel Puig had never seen Wade Miley before. It didn't make any difference. He singled twice before being called out in the 5th inning. Jerry Hairston's been very busy with 3 singles, an RBI, and a run scored. And the Dodgers now will have Ellis, Gonzalez, and Puig. Mark had walked and singled when he came up in the 5th inning against Wade Miley, and that's the 4th home run that Mark Ellis has hit against Wade Miley. So the Dodgers lead 3-1 in the 8th, and Charles Brewer ready to go to work. And ball 1. 2-0. Check swing foul. 2-1. Charles Brewer making his major league debut, and since he went to school at UCLA, we should tell you, among other things, he grew up in the same neighborhood as Randy Johnson. Fastball flared, and that's going to be a base hit. Powers thinking about a play, but Ellis was hustling down the line. If Mark had given it one of those ho-hum trots, Power was going to throw to first. So a base hit for Mark Ellis, a perfect night for the veteran, with a walk, 2 singles, and a home run. Powers looks and said nope. The paid attendance tonight, seeing Ellis lead off with a single, 38,275. 38,275. And a one-hopper into center for a base hit. So with 2 on and nobody out, here comes Puig.
Right fielder number 66, Yasiel Puig.
Couple of notes on Puig. 11 of his 15 hits have either come on the first pitch or the second pitch. 4 of his hits on the first pitch, 7 on the second pitch. He did get deep in the count last time up in the 5th inning and was called out on a check swing. So 2 on and nobody out. Puig is dirtied because he tried to go from first to third on a base hit to right field, and Parra nailed him. And that's going to be a base hit. What are they going to do with Ellis? They will stop him. The throw up line. Yasiel Puig is only 3 for 4. And the legend grows. Just bangs it the other way. So he has 2 singles to right and 1 to left. Wow. And you think it's batting practice for him. And even for Matt Kemp and Cruz and everybody else in the ball club, I know they find it hard to believe. It's too hard, and he's making it look too easy. Meanwhile, Brewer, who was saved by Parra, is now up to his hips in trouble. Bases loaded, nobody out. Jerry Hairston at the plate. The infield is halfway. Dodgers trying to add to a 3-1 lead. Oh, and 1. Hairston in his career has 3. Interestingly enough, his last grand slam in 2011 was against the Dodgers. So Ellis, Gonzalez, and Puig all out there. Dodgers 3 runs on 12 hits. Arizona 1 run, 6 hits. Fastball fought off. 0-2. The young Charles Brewer, 6'4", 205-pounder, 25 years old. Been in the minors since 2009. This being his debut. 0-2 off the plate. Throwing 92. Brewer, who used to play catch with Randy Johnson, now doing more than that in the big leagues. Fastball, curve, change, and cutter. 2-2. He added the cutter after the 2011 season. His curveball he worked on with former major leaguer Steve Ontiveros. 2-2. And ground ball to third, backhanded there, the out at the plate, the throw to first, in time. Hairston is doubled up and can't believe it. Well, Don Mattingly will argue, but Clint Fagan is the umpire at first base. Clint Fagan. So Prado to Montero to Goldschmidt. Hairston hits into the double play. Clint Fagan has not worked in the big leagues. He's been an umpire for 7 years. He lives in Texas. There's the out. And then the play at first. Hairston, oh yeah, wow. Hairston beats that by a lot. Oh, I'm sorry, Clint Fagan, but it was too obvious. Meanwhile, it was pretty obvious for Kirk Gibson that he's going to get the kid out of there. So Brewer comes out after the disputed double play. Andre Ethier will be coming up, and we'll be back. Bullpen to pick up for Brewer, and Sip getting ready to pitch to Andre Ethier. The Dodgers in the 4th inning had 1 run on 3 hits, and they've had 3 hits here in the 8th inning without scoring. Tony is from Mississippi. That's right, Mississippi, Pascagoula. Went to Clemson University and was originally drafted by the Indians. At Clemson, he played the outfield and also pitched. Andre Ethier with first base open, and they're going to pitch to him. And Juan Uribe on deck. Brewer made 24 pitches while he was in there. And a little pop fly, shallow center. It is going to be caught by Pollock. So Ethier, a little fly ball, and the Dodgers spin their wheels in the 8th inning. 3 hits and no runs, and we're going to the 9th. 3-1 Dodgers. Skip Schumacher comes into the game with Brandon League and plays left field. Schumacher would bat ninth, and Brandon League would bat in Hairston's spot, so that if the Dodgers are forced to play in the bottom of the ninth, Schumacher would come up third. So Brandon League, they gave up that game-winning home run to Paul Goldschmidt, coming in with a 2-2 record, has saved 13 out of 16, and he'll be facing Montero, Prado, and Parra. And if anybody gets on, Pennington. Miguel Montero, in his first at-bat on a no-ball, 2-strike count, single to center to cash in Cody Ross. Since then, struck out and hit into a double play. Whoa, almost hit him. Ball one. Montero, in facing League, is just 0 for 2. 3 runs, 12 hits for the Dodgers. 1 run, 6 hits for Arizona. 1-1. One ball, 1 strike. And ball 2, 2-1. Montero with 3 home runs, 19 runs batted in, and hits it foul down the line, out of play. Seems like Montero starts every game against the Dodgers. He's been in 56 of the 64 games. Two and two to Miguel Montero. Then Martin Prado in the dirt. It's been Kershaw for 7. He made 99 pitches, gave up 1 run. Jansen made just 13 pitches, a 1-2-3 8th inning. 3-2 to Montero. Down he goes, striking out a second time. And 1 out in the 9th. So that'll bring up Martin Prado, who's hit 3 ground balls.
Number 14, Martin Prado.
Prado grounded to second, grounded to first, grounded to third. A reminder, Dodgers Live coming up after the game. Prado hitting .245, 4 home runs, 18 runs batted in. Justin Upton has 14 home runs, 29 runs batted in. Don't know what he's doing in San Diego. 0-1 to Martin. If maybe you just wandered in and turned on the game, the Dodgers leading 3-1 in the 9th with 1 out. And Yasiel Puig has gone 3 for 4. Amazing. 0-2. Slider, 1-2. What a night for Mark Ellis. A walk, 2 singles, and a home run. And that's whacked into left field. Schumacher's going to have to run it down. Cuts it off and holds him to a single. So Prado, a line drive single to left. And the batter will be Gerardo Parra. who always figures, it seems, in these Dodger-Arizona games. That thing was spanked. Schumacher does a good job to cut it off. Parra walked, grounded out, and doubled. All of those at-bats were against Kershaw. Hitting .315. He has made an unbelievable catch on the ball hit by Fedorovich in the 7th inning. And he has also thrown out Puig trying to go from first to third on a base hit. Prado at first. One away. And a high fly ball into left center. Going back is Ethier. This is going to be off the wall. Nice recovery. The throw in is not in time. And just like that, Arizona has the tying runs at second and third with one out. So Parra comes up with his second double. Jason Kubel is going to come up and pinch hit. So Parra going with a fastball and bangs it high off the wall. Nice recovery by Ethier, but he still couldn't prevent the double. So the league is in trouble. Second and third, one out. And Kubel coming up. Kubel hitting .254. 3 home runs, 18 runs batted in. Kubel out of South Dakota. Little roller foul, 0-1 the count. Jason Kubel was signed by the Minnesota Twins back in 2000 out of Highland High School. He makes his home in Calabasas. And back in 2009, when he was playing for the Twins, he hit for the cycle against the Angels. His last at bat, he wound up for the cycle hitting a grand slam home run to win the game. 0-1. 1-1. Nice save by Fedorovich. Didi Gregorius comes out on deck. Kubel hitting for Pennington. Kubel, by the way, is 2 for 5 in the past against Lee. Another foul ball. So Brandon League in some hot water here. Struck out Montero. Then Prado a line drive single to left. Schumacher really hustled to keep it to a single. And then Parra doubles off the left center field wall. And he's 1-2 to Kubel. Nice save again by Fedorovich. That could have been a wild pitch. Brandon Lee has 3 wild pitches, and that was a great save. 2-2 to Jason Kubel. Prado at third, Parra the tying run at second. Kubel 2 for 7 as a pinch hitter. And hits it to the hole. Smothered by Ellis. Picks it up. Can't make a play. 1 run scores. It's 3-2 Dodgers. Now Arizona has the tying run at third and a go-ahead run at first. Didi Gregorius will be coming up. And actually what Mark Ellis did was save the tying run from scoring. So it's a base hit for sure.
For the Diamondbacks, pinch hitting number 1, Didi Gregorius.
And Didi Gregorius coming up. So Prado brought a run in. Power is at third. Josh Wilson is now going to run for Kubel. And Jason getting 5.
Josh Wilson.
So it's been a tough inning for League with 1 out, a single, a double, and then another single. 3-2 Dodgers. Infield up on the left side. Another save by Fedorovich. 1 ball and no strikes. Didi Gregorius. His real name is Mariuxen Julius. He's from Amsterdam in the Netherlands. He lives in Curaçao, and he was originally drafted by the Reds. He played baseball on the Curaçao national team. He was a basketball player and a swimmer. His father pitched, his brother pitched, so he wound up playing shortstop. 1 ball and no strikes. Off the plate. Ball 2. So in the inning with 1 out, Prado single sharply to left. Parra double to put runners at second and third. Kubel singles to the hole, smothered by Ellis. First and third, tying run 90 feet away. 1 out. 2-1. Gregorius, 23 years old, 6'1", about 185 pounds. Played 8 games for Cincinnati. That was his experience before making it to Arizona. Two and 1. And ball 3. Waiting on deck, A.J. Pollock, the leadoff man. Three and 1. We'll keep an eye on Wilson over there. He's not going. And that's ball 4. Though the bases are loaded, Mattingly has nowhere to go except to send Rick Honeycutt out to the mound. So with 1 out, there is a run in. The bases are loaded, and the batter will be A.J. Pollock. As we look at Pollock and his numbers, the first thought you have, does he ground into double plays? And the answer is 4 times. That's all. He is 0 for 4. He has struck out once, and he does strike out a lot. He has struck out 46 times. So the Dodgers hoping either to blow him away or hoping he'll hit into a double play. A.J. will be followed by Willie Bloomquist.
A.J. Pollock.
Peter Moylan begins to throw in the Dodger bullpen. But for Brandon Lee, he has allowed 3 hits and a walk. And they are out there now. With Parra, Wilson, and Gregorius. Foul ball, 0-1. Stephen Five, Jerry Hairston, Josh Beckett hanging on the railing. No balls, 1 strike. Fastball lifted into shallow center, and it's going to be the second baseman. So tagging is Parra, and he's not going to come as Ellis makes the play instead of Ethier. So Pollock can't do it as he pops it up, and now the batter is Willie Bloomquist.
Second baseman, number 18, Willie Bloomquist.
Willie Bloomquist flied to left, single to center, grounded to short, and struck out. Bloomquist who has been on the DL. He's only played 8 games. So 2 out, bases loaded. Dodgers trying to hang on 3-2. Parra, Wilson, Gregorius all out on the lines. Ground ball, smothered, but no play. The tying run, and now a go-ahead run scores. Nick Punto smothered the ball, but could not make the play for the out. And so the third out escapes the Dodgers, and instead Bloomquist hits it up the middle. All the runs come in. It is 4-3 in favor of Arizona with a 3-run ninth. Matt Williams, the third base coach, waving him in. So first and second, 2 out. And now Don Mattingly going out. His closer couldn't close. Peter Moylan in the bullpen, and they will go to Peter. So Brandon Lee, unable to stop the bleeding, got the first man, and then 5 out of 6. They score 3, and Arizona has turned it around 4-3. We'll be back. The closer after Brandon Lee made 25 pitches and gave up 3 runs, 4 hits, and of course for Brandon Lee, the 2 runners out there are also his responsibility. You have Bloomquist at first, and you have Gregorius at second. So Moylan trying to get that last out, and the batter will be Goldschmidt, who has struck out, hit into a force play, struck out again and fly to center. It means that Clayton Kershaw made 99 pitches in 7 innings, allowed 1 run, and lost a possible victory. So here's Big Goldschmidt now with 2 on, 2 out, 3 in, and Arizona taking a 4-3 lead. Remember the staggering numbers they have against the Dodgers. They've beaten them 15 out of 18, 15 out of 20 here at Dodger Stadium, and this year they've beaten them 5 out of 6. Little slider in for a strike, 0-1. So Parra, who really had the key hit, Prado singled, Parra doubled, and the race was on. 0-1 to Goldschmidt. Fastball away. 1-1. Tomorrow night, Zach Greinke and Ian Kennedy. And the final game of the series in the homestand Wednesday night, Hanju Ryu and Patrick Corbin. Sliced foul away. 1-2 the count to Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt, who has meant so much to Arizona. Fastball. It was Kershaw who went 7. Kenley Jansen pitched the 8th inning and retired the side in order. And then League just couldn't quite cut it, and Moylan looking for the last out. When the Dodgers come up, they are due to have Uribe, Fedorovich, and Schumacher. 1-2. Breaking ball whacked into left field. Here comes Gregorius. He will score. It's 5-3. That run is charged to League. That would be his 4th. And the base hit, of course, charged to Moylan. So Bloomquist stopped at second. Gregorius brought it in. The 9th man to come up in the inning, and that's Cody Ross. Take another look. Goldschmidt just straightens that one out. Line drive base hit. Schumacher had no chance. Gregorius runs way too well. So 5-3 Arizona. 2 on, 2 out, and here's Cody Ross. A double, 2 singles, and popped up 3 for 4. And a slicing pop fly to the right side. It will be Ellis. Arizona sends 9 men to the plate. 4 of them come home, and we head to the bottom of the 9th. 5-3 Arizona. Didi Gregorius will take over at shortstop for Cliff Pennington. And on the mound, certainly no stranger, the veteran Heath Bell. Heath lives in Oceanside, San Diego, down there. Was originally signed as a free agent by the Mets way back in 1998. 6'2", about 245, thereabouts. 36 years old in September. His father was a United States Marine. He came up briefly with the Mets a couple of times, going from New York to Norfolk, back and forth. Then found a home with the Padres from 2007 through 2011. He went to the Miami Marlins, and it was a disastrous association. He was 4-5. He had an earned run average over 5. Arizona picks him up, and here he is. Keith Bell 2-0 in his 27th game. 6 walks, 29 strikeouts, so almost 5-1. And here's Juan Uribe. Hit back to the box, doubled on a 3-0 pitch, and hit into a double play. Bell over the top fastball, jumps in there at 92. Keith Bell was so discouraged early in his career. He didn't get any scholarship offers from college. So since his dad was a Marine, he was thinking of going into the service. But as he said, every time I had lunch with my father, he talked me out of enlisting. And it has turned out to be very, very well. He was a highly paid relief pitcher. Keith Bell has saved 11 out of 13. San Diego's relief, they have 19 saves. That's a little low. They have 19 saves, but they have blown 12. And Bell has the big responsibility here. Meanwhile, the pangs and the suffering of a reliever when things don't work. And for Brandon League, a veteran, he's known the ups and the downs. Right now it's a big downer. 2-1. Off the plate. 3-1. Diamondbacks trying to win their 36th game, trying to snap a little 2-game losing streak, and trying to beat the Dodgers 6 out of 7 times. 3-2. You saw Alan Trammell talking to the skipper Kirk Gibson, and Uribe turns to Larry Vanover and said, "Did I swing at a strike?" 3-2. Ah, yes, and then there's Gerardo Parra. Boy, he is something. Fouled away. Parra, one way or another, it seems, always plays a vital part in an Arizona Dodger game. Tonight, he waited. He did throw out Puig, trying to go from first to third. He made that unbelievable catch against Tim Fedorovich, and then a key double in the 9th inning. 3-2. Fastball hit foul down the line, out of play. Keith Bell and Juan Uribe. So we'll look them up. Uribe 2 for 11 with a home run in the past. That's just a 182 batting average. Puig tonight, 3 more hits. Three and 2. Fastball hit in the air to right center and deep. Pollock gone back to the track at the wall. It hits the wall. Home run. So Juan Uribe hits a home run to right center, and the Dodgers get close. It's 5-4 in favor of Arizona. For Heath Bell, that would be the 3rd home run that he has allowed this year. Fastball up, out over the plate, and Uribe hits the very top of the pads, and then the ball is going to kick on up into the stands. So Puig on the other end of the cheers, giving them. And now the batter is Fedorovich. Ball 1. Fedorovich was the one who hit the ball in the 7th inning when Parra made the catch. Long time between home runs for Uribe. And that's a strike. 1-1 the count. Slapped in the air. Hara on the dead run and makes a diving try. Can't make the catch. Fedorovich will stop at second, and the tying run is out there with nobody out. Parra was playing him far off the line. Tried to make the catch, couldn't do it. It'll be a double for Fedorovich. Scott Van Slyke will be running for Fedorovich. So Van Slyke with a stiff neck and a sore shoulder, carrying the burden of the tying run. Skip Schumacher, who came in with a double switch to play left field, now up there checking to see what they want him to do. So Van Slyke the runner, nobody out. 5-4 Arizona. Schumacher with a 15-game hitting streak. Bunts, good bunt, and no play. Prado can't pick it up, and the Dodgers have first and third, and nobody out. We'll see how they rule it. We do know first and third, nobody out. Look at Puig giving Uribe the pep talk. Prado can't pick it up in his haste. So the tying run 90 feet away. Paul Goldschmidt now is halfway to the mound. It's going to be a sacrifice. Era Prado, era 5. So Parra kind of skinned himself trying to catch that double by Fedorovich. Prado unable to handle the bunt. So what a ninth inning. And here now is Punto. And pops it up. Shallow left. Coming in is Ross. He'll make the catch. Tagging is Van Slyke, but he'll hold. Very bad throw, but he still might not have made it. So Punto didn't hang around. And a fly ball to shallow left. So now the batter is Mark Ellis, trying to complete what has been a perfect night. The Arizona bullpen has only lost 7 games. They have won 13. Of course, as we mentioned, they've also blown 12 saves. They've had 10 victories that the bullpen turned into a loss, where the starting pitcher goes out as a winner and they wind up losing the game. So, okay, first and third, one out. Here's Mark Ellis. 0-1 on deck, Adrian Gonzalez. And then, if they can get there, Yasiel Puig. By the way, David Freese and Matt Carpenter each extended their hitting streaks. Freese has hit 19 straight, Carpenter 18 straight. They did that last night. They were off tonight. Schumacher is at first. Van Slyke the tying run at third. One out. 0-1 to Ellis. Hitting .274. He has a walk, 2 singles, and a home run. Fastball got the corner. So Ellis now in the hole. No balls, 2 strikes. Dodgers led 1-0. Arizona tied it. Then the Dodgers scored a run in the 4th, a run in the 5th, led 3-1. ninth inning, Arizona scored 4 to lead 5-3. Dodgers have gotten 1, trying to get at least another and tie it up. Uribe has gotten them close with a home run. 0-2 to Ellis. Away, 1-2. We take a look at Ellis going up against Heath Bell. Mark is 3 for 4 against him in the past. One and 2. Fastball got him. Up and in at 92. So Mark Ellis strikes out. And the Dodgers down to their last out. And it's Adrian Gonzalez, former teammates with Heath Bell at San Diego. Gonzalez is 1 for 2 against Bell. How do you feel about Gonzalez walking and Puig coming up with the bases loaded? Would that be asking too much? Well, we'll see. Gibby doesn't want to see it. Adrian trying at least to get Van Slyke home. And a strike. 0-1. With that tying run 90 feet away, as we always do, we check Heath Bell, and he has 3 wild pitches. So Van Slyke at third, Schumacher at first, 5-4 D-backs, 2 out, 9th inning. Van Slyke bluffing, comebacker, dropped by Bell, picks it up, throws him out. So the Dodgers scuffle and come back with 1 and leave runners at first and third. So the Diamondbacks, one way or another, continue to beat up the Dodgers. They've beaten them 6 out of 7, 16 out of 21 here, 16 of 19 over the last couple of years. And they'll try tomorrow night with Zach Greinke and Ian Kennedy. Stay tuned for Dodgers Live coming up next. Good night, everybody.